That's why it's not always smart for people who go through certain things to get out and just tell the world about those things, because the world is not always ready to handle all those things.
Welcome to Impact and Fulfillment with Coach Mike D, where you'll gain practical wisdom and dynamic insight from amazing conversations to live your best life.
Yo, dig this. It's your boy, Coach Mike D, with another episode of Impact and Fulfillment. Pray everybody is well. Hope you got things rocking and rolling in a way that is optimal, right? I pray that you're doing what you need to do to be your best, because when you are your best, everybody around you gets to experience your best. And that's what this thing is all about. Us being our best. But in pursuit of your best, I want you to be mindful of a few things, okay? Be mindful of how you treat people. You know, there's an age-old quote that says, be careful of how you treat people on your way up the ladder of success, because those same people will probably be there on your way down. So be mindful of how you treat people. Okay. I heard something very recently about when you're transparent and when you share things, when you communicate things, when you put secrets out there. The thing is, when you release something publicly, you no longer just release that to those on your side, but you also release things to the enemy, right? So when you put something out there publicly, it's public. Meaning not just the good guys, but the not so good guys have access to what you put out as well. There's a Bible verse that says even a fool seems smart when they're quiet. So yes, I'm all about honesty. But as it pertains to transparency or volunteering various information, we do need to exercise a level of discernment, because everybody ain't wired to handle everything. And there are levels to this, right? There are times in which some things are not shared because those things that are being kept from them are so to protect them, because maybe they are not in the frame of mind. They don't have the awareness. They don't have the emotional regulation to handle it all. So at times, some things are withholding, right? That's real. I'll put it this way. If you've ever talked to somebody or have an intimate connection with somebody who is, who served in the military, right? And who's been, deployed into active combat. And there are some that will speak to you about some of the things that they've had to do while in active combat. And when you listen to them describe it at times, it sounds as if you're watching some type of movie, right? But the reality is that's the life that they lived in real life, right? And everybody's not wired for that. That's why it's not always smart for people who go through certain things to get out and just tell the world about those things, because the world is not always ready to handle all those things. But there's a but here, but there needs to be an awareness that at times things are done on your behalf that are unbeknownst to you, that you might not agree with, but those things have to be done so that those individuals like yourself can live the life that you desire to live, right? And that's just the reality of things. But as it pertains to being transparent and as it pertains to oversharing of things, we have to be mindful that everybody is not wired, prepared, and or able to handle all that's being shared. And so we have to have a level of discernment with regard to what gets disseminated. But we all need to strive to be our best. And in the midst of striving to be our best, you know what? Things get broken. Things get messy, right? It's like in the process of cooking, the kitchen is a mess before you end up with this, Michelin star meal, the kitchen's a mess. It's stuff everywhere, right? Pots everywhere. Stuff is dirty. Stuff is in the sink. You got pots and pans and food and stuff. The trash cans are filled up. You got all of this stuff, right? To get to this perfectly prepared Michelin level meal, right? Michelin starred meal. But it was a messy process to get there. And so I think we all need to be mindful of the process is not always clean. Okay. And that can be political. That can be just in real life. The process is not always clean because in the midst of the process, you try things, you break things, you fix things, you learn things, you move forward, you take a few steps back. But all of these components are part of the process. So in your desire or in your walk to optimize or in your walk to become your best, just know that things are going to get messy, right? But like I said before, be very cognizant of how you treat people because the folks on the way up will probably still be there on your way down. And I know there's some that are going to say that, well, I'll never be on my way down. Well, I beg to differ because if you really look at people, and this is why it's so important to study people, nobody has had a full lifetime run at the very top where they didn't have any slip ups or falls. Yes, study the greatest of the greats, right? I mean, listen, you think about it, Jesus, right? For what we read about Jesus with regard to his ministry was about 3 years. And at the end of it, Jesus was crucified. Yes, he rose and he's coming back and all of that. But the reality is it was about 3 years that Jesus did the things that we read about in the Bible. And he was crucified at the end of it. Think about your favorite star, your favorite celebrity, your favorite business leader. Yes, they may have had win after win after win, but please believe there were some issues in the midst of that. There were some lawsuits. There were some scandals. There were some major losses. There were some major controversies. There were some things that they had to overcome, which in essence is that proverbial slip, right? That slide down. And I'm just saying in your journey, you're going to have issues. You're going to have scenarios in which you're going to get tested. You're going to have losses. You're going to have failures. You're going to have things that you have to deal with. You're going to have cases in court and all this kind of stuff that you have to deal with. And depending on the area that you're serving in, that those things may be par for the course. But this is why it's so important to study people. Don't study people through the lens of trying to copy what they did, but study people so that you can be aware of how people operate, so that you can see some of the hurdles that they faced, not so that to basically set the frame for you to face those same hurdles, but you want to be aware of what some of the challenges might be in that particular area that you're, walking in. So again, study people. I'm a huge proponent of reading bios. I'm a huge proponent of listening to long form conversations with people, not just about their subject matter, but about their life and their journey to getting to where they are. With regard to what you see now. So I'm a huge proponent of that. But back to what I was saying, be mindful of how you treat people on the way up. Those same people will be there on the way down. And then as it pertains to transparency and volunteering information, make sure you have discernment. Because what you share, once it's public to everybody. It's public to those who want to help you, as well as those who want to harm you. And that's why we need to exercise, a level of discernment with regard to communication. And in the midst of all of that, we still need to strive to get better. And while we're striving to get better, we got to realize this thing potentially can get messy. But that's also a part of the process, right? That's a part of the process. So be careful how you treat people. Have discernment with regard to what you communicate and what you share. And realize that the process might get messy, and that's okay. It's supposed to. Well, hey, I hope all of this is something just for you all from a mindset perspective to kind of file into who you are, into what you got going on, because ultimately this is all about impact and fulfillment. Impact is the delta of your involvement. Fulfillment is that through line of joy that you have every day. Are you sleeping good at night? And that's ultimately my goal with regard to everybody that I touch, is for them to get to that point. Maximum impact and optimized fulfillment for the rest of their life, and for them to shine that light and to light that candle in the lives of others so that they can also live impactful and fulfilling lives as well. And if all of us do that, everything gets better. And this is not a short game. This is the long game here, right? This is not something that happens overnight, but it starts tonight. Hear that again. It doesn't happen overnight, but it starts tonight, meaning you start taking those steps now. And ultimately, over time, things start to turn. So anyway, as always, y'all be blessed, well, and wise. Have an amazing day, and I will holler at you. Peace.
I really hope you enjoyed today's episode. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and follow Coach Mike D everywhere on social media. Y'all be blessed, well, and wise.